All right, we're beginning. Okay.
Thank you for being willing to share. Now, I guess we have to start out. Do you know the difference? I didn't know the difference between shepherd's or cottage pie, so I looked it up.
Yeah, cottage pie is beef, shepherd's pie is pork. I'm sorry. Shepherd's pie is lamb. I guess it's already hitting me. And you can even do things like hunter's pie with venison and fisherman's pie with seafood. Maybe we'll do fisherman's pie is very different, so we might have to do a whole episode on that. But yeah, you've got options. Basically, whatever you got, throw it in, and you got blank pie. No,
Now, you had me add some Irish to the description.
Yeah, that is.
Have the ability to pronounce it.
I newly, so I might butcher it, but I've been learning the phonetics. Fog, gog, cócaireacht, Éireannach, no pióg, teachín, cócaireacht, líne, chéile. And my accent's going to be terrible.
Yeah, so leave it to Chef
I have a question.
Ryan.
Does the shepherd's pie have a top and a bottom crust?
No, just the top.
Okay.
So basically, it's stir-fried meat topped with mashed potatoes. Am I right?
Yeah, I hate to even use this term, but in British nomenclature, if it has mashed potatoes, it's still a pie.
Okay. And you had said something about tomatoes. You want to reiterate?
No tomatoes in this because this is an Irish shepherd's pie. So we're going to try to be using ingredients native to Ireland, except for potatoes, but they've been adopted into the family, if you will.
And do you ever actually put beer in it? Because you had said you need 2 beers for this. Did you mean 2 beers for yourself, or one for the cooking and one for you?
You're looking at what I do is I have the you use a little bit to cook and the rest you drink. But I'd say maybe four would be good for everything.
Yeah, you don't want to waste any beer.
Yeah,
exactly. Just like, but today you said you're starting with a mead instead, the homemade mead.
I got more mead than beer, so I got beer for cooking. I got mead for drinking.
Well, it seems like that you'd be easier to make beer than because the ingredients are more readily available.
You've made mead, or haven't you? You've made mead.
Right,
mine takes 3 days. Like, as long as I can hunker down and get it done, we're good in like less than a week.
Well, it's just harder to get copious amounts of honey than it is to get the ingredients for.
Hold on. This is true, but it's more specialized. But I'll show you what I got that I can get away with.
Oh man, you're gonna let us into the secret alcohol room?
I got this.
Don't let the government know, they'll tax it.
There it is. I
just got a ton of honey. Yeah, now I can make mead whenever I want.
All right, so mead is basically honey wine, right? Or honey beer.
But you drink it more like a beer. You chug it. You don't sip on it like it's wine.
It's got low alcohol content, probably, or not?
Yeah.
Doesn't seem low for me. It gets me going. I actually let mine ferment longer to eliminate the alcohol. Because what I make is turmeric ginger mead, and I'm going for the turmeric and the ginger for pain relief.
Nice. I just drink it because it tastes good. So step 1.
All right, let's get cooking. First of all, go down and show the ingredients list you've got.
Okay, so let's start with, I'm gonna get just pot with water in it. I already filled the water. And then we got this lamb here, lovely. And we got the potatoes. So we're gonna do double duty here. And we're gonna cook the lamb while we're peeling and getting the potatoes ready for the boiling process.
Looks like you've got some Christmas lights out, huh? Holiday lights.
Yep, Merry Christmas, ho ho ho. All that good stuff. So we're gonna use butter because, like I said, we're doing it northern style. We're barbarians today. So we're gonna just give that a little cut. Throw that in here.
Now, you can use any type of fat, right? I mean,
You can. I have a preference for butter today. No.
But I mean, if you're with beef, if you're doing the English version with the beef, it tends to have fat in it, but lamb tends to be very, very, well, I don't know, more dry, right?
Yeah, I call it more an Irish than an English recipe, but that might just be my national recipe.
Yeah.
So let's wash the potatoes. Please don't fall.
Okay. Well, looking up online, it said the difference between shepherd's pie and cottage pie is about the meat. Shepherd's pie is lamb, cottage pie is beef, and then also traditionally cottage pie is usually topped with sliced potatoes, while shepherd's pie, it's always topped with mashed potatoes.
Correct.
So
then the distinction gets a little mixed up in the diaspora. Look at that, man. Like that looks oh, you can't see me. I mean, that looks wonderful too, but this is what I meant. Oh,
the smell of butter is wonderful.
Yes.
So fry up some lamb. You got the water going already
No, I do not. I put the potatoes in there first, but I guess, yeah, I should probably, that's a good idea. Nope, wrong one.
Water always seems to take forever to boil for me because I watch it.
That's a good reason to get an induction burner, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Because they apparently really boil water quick.
So I use this baby to peel my potatoes.
Yeah.
I'm serving for 2 people. How many potatoes do you think I should have? I usually don't do that. I usually do 2 potatoes, so I'm thinking 4. What do you think?
Yeah. Depending on the size of the potatoes, yeah.
I'll show you my potatoes. I got Yukon Golds.
Now, for the mashed potatoes, you're going from scratch. You never do the powdered stuff?
No, I don't feel the need to put my guests in such physical pain.
It's just like, I like the powdered stuff for
that's the thing.
Thickening soups. But
yeah. Like,
and if you cut up your potatoes smaller, they'll cook faster also. If you're kind of
do you always peel the potatoes? That's a debate out there in the world. For mashed potatoes, definitely, but do you peel them for soups and?
Oh, no. You leave it on there for like, if I wanted to do rotisserie chicken, like we're leaving it on there. Like, come on, man, what's wrong with you? I guess
is there a way to turn your phone so we can see what you're doing?
I'm just peeling the potatoes, just like.
Okay. Yeah, well, I mean, we like to see stuff instead of the ceiling.
I can do that. Just give me a second.
Just like.
Yeah. Like,
so do you have that butter still going or meat in there?
I got it. It's just finished up, so I'm gonna lower it a little. Knife, lamb, and I'm gonna cut it open and put it in there. So just give me a second to do that.
Just like
Oh, actually, this is turning out a little harder than I expected.
And so you're just slow cooking the lamb.
Yep.
Well done.
Yep. Yeah, you want a well done lamb. I mean, this is not like a lamb steak.
And are you adding any flavors into the lamb, or are you just letting the lamb?
I will get to that in a minute.
Okay.
I will do that when we get closer to game day. Right. So I'm just out of there. Come on.
Was it hard to find the lamb? I feel like it's hard to find lamb.
But I already knew where to look.
Got it.
I even found brown venison there, so I was like,
brown venison.
Brown venison, yep.
Do you make this pretty regularly then?
I mean, semi-regularly. I make it once every couple months at least. I make it for the Feast of the Epiphany. That's like our thing, because shepherds, as shepherds watch their fields by night, seated all around. So therefore, shepherd's pie. I thought it was brilliant. I'm actually going to high cook this. So I'll just watch what I do.
So you're going to try to cook the meat at the same time as you're cutting up the potatoes?
Yeah. I figured, this will take a minute. I'm gonna throw in some more butter because I feel like that's gonna dry out.
In the restaurant business, we call that railroading it.
Railroading. They haven't called me out for that yet.
Just, you got to just get it going and make it work. Go fast.
Yep.
Because you have to in a restaurant. In the restaurant business, quite often you're always in a rush.
Yeah. So this I got at a little local grocery store that just recently opened up. Like not recently, but like the last couple years.
Fred, I don't know about you, but I'm just.
What part of the country are you in? What part of the country are you in?
1 second. What was that?
What part of the country are you in?
I'm in Philly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm having a hard time. So next step, we're going to take a little.
So Ryan, we had someone show up. I shared the recipe, and they were from a vegetarian. They were vegetarian, and they were like, "Oh, see you." So, I have had this once before, a vegetarian version, and what they did is there's soy protein bits.
Yeah, it's called a farmer's pie.
You can have chunks, TVP.
Yeah,
and then you marinate that in like a mushroom or unami sauce.
Yep. However, it's no longer shepherd's pie at that point. Now you're having a farmer's pie.
Okay.
So yeah, like I said, it changes every time you change the base ingredient. It's now a new thing.
Yeah, some dishes don't lend themselves to becoming a vegetarian dish.
I would say farmer's pie would be good because it's the shepherd's / whatever pie is based on what you got. So if you don't got no meat for the winter, just do what works. So we got some
whatever you got in it, yeah.
So I'm gonna fresh thyme, give it a little cut.
You have time to get fresh, huh? You put all that in there?
Throw that in the mix. Look. Ecce. 1 second.
That's some savory food.
There we go. You see that thyme in there?
Oh, you put it all in there. Yeah.
You see that thyme?
Yep.
I got it in here. So we're gonna mix that around. And I haven't gotten the peeling the potatoes in any capacity, but I guess that's like.
Yeah. So you
rosemary.
pre-cook everything before you assemble it and bake it. Can you just put it together in a baking pan and bake it? It would just take like forever.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think so. I've never tried that, but I'm
more like a meatloaf.
All right. Next, we got. Oh, you can't see me. Rosemary. Oh, you still can't see me.
So you put some thyme and rosemary.
Rosemary, nice and fresh. So let's give it a cut.
Now you can put any type of savory herbs, I guess.
Yeah, you can. I just picked what I liked, and I like rosemary and thyme. Parsley and sage too. Those are good ones.
It's the holidays, so sing it.
Parsley, sage, rosemary, and thyme.
Yeah.
All right, so rosemary's mixed in there, and we're just gonna give it some love, mix it around. We're gonna get back to peeling our potatoes. Let me get to that, and I'm just gonna have to.
I think that pot of water is probably gonna boil because we haven't been watching it.
It's actually not even close.
I don't know. I always tend to forget to put the water on, and
yeah, no, it's good. I usually have someone watch everything for me, and I just tell them what to do, but I don't have that skill.
It's just like, so you have a cooking party.
Yeah. Yep.
I just recently got my electric kettle out, which I hadn't used for a long time, and that's a good way to get water heated up quick.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna put this back because this is the rosemary and thyme has a double purpose of also mead making.
Really, you make mead with rosemary and thyme?
Yeah, it's called a medigun. It's Welsh.
Okay, I guess you could put any flavor in mead, huh?
I don't know about any flavor, but yeah, you can do a lot with honey. Okay.
Do you ever do mead and then add the flavors like right before you serve it, or it's always like in the process of fermentation?
It's always in the process of fermentation. I've done that with my pumpkin beers as well. Like, okay, come here, baby. Yeah, we got you. Daddy's got you. Don't you worry. All right. So yeah, I just got this little part of it. I'm gonna cut out. It doesn't look fresh.
Yeah, I'm gonna look up online and see if there's a version of this where you could just basically just put the meat in the bottom of the pan and then.
I'm using beer for the bottom of the pan. I'm using Guinness.
No, I meant without pre-cooking things.
I would be surprised if they do that, because I don't know, it'd just be hard to control the cooking of the ingredients.
The meat, so. The booze is to grease, is to clear the pan.
Okay. Well, I just meant that, you know, instead of pre-cooking anything, you just assemble all the raw ingredients in the pan.
Oh.
Like, cut it, like you put a layer of meat, cut up the potatoes, put the herbs.
Yeah, it's a very serious concern that it would overcook, though.
Yeah.
Okay.
I agree. Yeah. Probably by the time the potatoes got cooked, the meat would be overcooked or something.
Yeah, I assume there's a reason there's no like Chef Boyardee for like Irish food.
Right. I think that's right. I think these are ingredients that cook at different rates, so they don't work. It doesn't work to put them in raw and just cook them all.
Yeah, I don't think you can make a canned version, though. If you find a way, let me know so I can sell that. Sell that stuff.
Denny Moore's beef stew.
Yep.
But but it doesn't have a pastry shell.
No. I don't know why I'm frozen, but I am.
No, we can see
Not
it.
for us, you're not.
Oh, great.
You're okay here.
Oh, yeah, I see. My phone's just being really weird. Potato on it. There we go. So I'm just going at this.
Do you have a preference of type of potato? You're just making mashed potatoes, so.
Yukon Golds are really high quality potatoes.
Yeah, Yukon Golds are good. I got lucky, man. I'm like blessed in this regard. Okay.
Now, do you throw away the peels, or are you going to use those for something else?
No, I'm not using them for nothing. I think this will do fine for the last potato. I think this
I think you don't need 4 of them. Those are big ones.
You think 2 will do?
I don't know. I mean, my thing is I always make too much food. Like I make it so that it doesn't fit in the pan.
Well, ultimately, it depends on what, you're going to have to put it in the oven. If it doesn't all fit in one, you're going to have two pans going in the oven.
So I'm just going to be a glutton and taste some of this right now.
It's like.
That's the Aoire style of cooking.
Yep. That's the
taste
best.
As you go along. I like lamb.
Delicious.
Is it always like ground, or do you ever do chunks?
I brown it.
Yeah.
Pretty much always.
Yeah. Ground beef, ground lamb.
Yeah.
I mean, fisherman's pie, that's a little different.
It's like beef stew is usually done with chunks, but I think for this, it's better to have ground. It's more uniform in the pot. It's more uniform in the pie. Now that the
beef is cooked, lamb is cooked, let's put it to a very low and let it simmer.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. You got an assistant there looking for some lamb.
Connor, no, you can't be here. Fine, you can be here. Just don't eat anything.
Well, he said, "Oh, those are just potatoes. Never mind."
Right.
It's just like, we went right into cooking and never went over the ingredients. So it says, I'll go over it. Let's see.
Keep on peeling. Keep on peeling.
All right.
So, beef or lamb, depending on which version of the pie we're making. Yeah. And then, now looking up online, I saw it said onions, garlic, and/or savory spices.
Right,
do you ever put?
I'm gonna throw in some onions now. I'm gonna throw in some garlic too. So we're gonna do 1 onion, half an onion actually, because that's what we got. Then we're gonna turn it up to a high heat again and let that caramelize. Kind of making this up as I go, I won't lie. But yeah, it smells good.
I mean, this dish seems to be very forgiving, that you can do it in different orders and, you know, put how much of each you want. And
oh yeah, this dish is like as forgiving.
In like a beef stew, there's a gravy. Is there some kind of a gravy in this?
You make the gravy.
Lots of butter.
All that. So we're gonna cut this, and I'm gonna cry. That's not because I'm cutting the onion.
Oh, you're gonna cry because you're sad that you're killing the onion?
Sure.
It's just like, all right, back to ingredients. So we got beef or lamb, depending on what version, onion, garlic, and savory spices. Like, I don't know, this would almost be good to, yeah, I mean, like,
you just put it in a bowl and eat it.
Yeah.
Big chunks of garlic almost, because you're gonna, and then
that's a good idea. I think I'll do that.
Yeah, the onion doesn't have to be chopped up even really fine.
No, because it's gonna bake too. So
yeah.
And then fried in butter, and then mashed potatoes, which more butter and milk for the mashed potatoes, and then peas and carrots. And then I saw like you could put other vegetables in it too, but that seems to be the base. No matter what, you have to do that.
This is and the gospel, and then the other vegetables are like the epistles. They're nice, but you don't need them.
Well, peas and carrots are kind of things that people in the old days had in their gardens. Carrots and peas.
Yep.
Right, but I don't suppose. I mean, you're not going to have peas in the winter. Well, I guess you could have dried peas.
You can grow garlic in winter.
But I mean, everything else.
Carrots are a cold weather crop, actually.
Yeah, carrots are a cold weather crop too. He's right. Okay, so
everything else is stuff that our root cellar, you know, it's going to stick around all winter pretty well.
So that's why, yeah. That's why there's root vegetables that are the basis of this, is because of the.
Now I want to know if this is sacrilegious. You said cheddar cheese, shredded cheddar cheese is optional. Is that like an Americanized version?
You know, it kind of gets hard to tell because I didn't have cheddar cheese growing up, but I like met someone later on who's like, you gotta add this to the thing, trust me. And I'm like, okay, fine, I'll do it. And it was an improvement, so I stuck with it. So okay. It's probably Americanized because it wasn't in my recipe growing up, but I added it later.
But it's also how you like your mashed potatoes, right? So
yeah, I
guess you could flavor the mashed potatoes like kind of a little bit how you like them if you wanted to add stuff to it.
Yeah. How many cloves of garlic you thinking? I'm thinking 2.
At least.
At least. Okay, so we're talking.
It matters how many vampires you're stopping.
Yeah, I mean we can make a vampire war mashed potato recipe, right? So yeah, I don't think this really needs to be. Well, it needs to be peeled, not.
We again can't see you, just the ceiling.
Oh, I'm just peeling the thing. No.
You can smash it with the side of your knife. You can smash it with your side of your knife.
I'm thinking more Conan the Barbarian. I'm just gonna smash it with my bare hands.
It's like the heel of your hand, you can do it.
Yep.
It's fun. It's funny. When I was up north, I was cooking and I was smashing the garlic. And my Apple Watch went off and said, "Did you fall down? Are you okay? Did you fall?"
So I put it on the YouTube channel. I cooked a meal with a Thai lady here in Thailand. And she doesn't peel the garlic. She just puts it in the mortar and pestle and leaves basically made the salad, and the skins were still in it. But
yeah, I think if you did it in the mortar and pestle, it'd be easy to sort of pull the skin out after you ground it up.
Yeah, but she didn't even peel them out, take them out at all. I mean, it also had mini crabs in it, so you couldn't eat them. So maybe it was the idea is if when you do find the skin, you take it.
One smash and I got this.
There you go.
Just with my hands.
How was your tom yum soup? Or that you
that was good. I made so much that I had it for like 3 meals. Yeah. And so yeah, if you go to the YouTube channel, it was really cool because it was som tom, which is green papaya salad, but she doesn't like papaya, so she made it with cucumbers. I was like, oh, because when I get back to the States, it's not that easy to find green papayas, but very easy to find cucumbers, and I love that salad.
Yeah, and I don't like cucumbers, but I like I could eat green papaya. There's a famous Vietnamese movie, maybe I should show it sometime, called The Scent of Green Papaya.
That's caramelizing, so we're just going to let that hang out, do its thing.
You got it at just low heat, yeah.
Oh, no, it's a medium now. It's a high. I turned it up until it caramelizes, then we're going to let it simmer again.
Fred, I wonder if you could make it with zucchini. I bet you could.
Yeah, it might be. If you took the pulp out of the middle, because it could be too much liquid, maybe.
Right.
But if you salted the zucchini where it drew out the liquid, you probably could do that.
Because basically, she was using really big cucumbers, which are, doesn't have much moisture in the center. And so, yep. Go ahead. See, this is the part of the cooking show where we showed the realistic part instead of here's a pile of pre-peeled potatoes all chopped up already, where they show the 5-minute cooking all together, and now's the time to have I need to have a drink. So
we're going to put this back down to a simmer. And we're just going to let these onions caramelize. A little more.
Can you overcook lamb?
Oh yeah, of course. It's meat. Like if I threw it in fire, it would burn. That was like, didn't they do that for like sacrifices all the time?
It's like,
I
didn't mean burn
ground meat. It doesn't take that long to cook.
I don't mean burn it. I was thinking
you're sort of rendering the fat out of the ground meat anyway, is kind of what you're doing.
Right. If you did it, I meant more like get it tough. But it's ground beef, so if it was
harder because lamb is very tender.
Yeah.
But I suppose you can do it. Yeah, like everyone knows beef. Like we don't even need to talk about that almost. Lamb is a little unique to some people,
especially in the U.S.
In the U.S., yeah, certainly, but not at. I'm sure there are other places too.
Well, I'll tell you what happened in the U.S. while you're peeling there.
Okay.
So my father was in the Navy, and during the Pacific War, a lot of mutton was coming up from Australia, and they were feeding it to these sailors in the Pacific, and of course they hated it.
Because
So when they got back after the war,
why did they hate it?
Much of a good thing.
Yeah, because it tasted horrible.
If it's similar to goat, if you don't butcher it right, it tends to be really strong flavored.
Well, this is really strong flavored. And so when they got back, including my father, who actually had a restaurant even before he went, I don't want to ever hear anything about lamb. He used to serve rabbit in the restaurant, but so I didn't eat lamb till I was about 20 years old.
Wow. And I grew up on like lamb, duck.
But there was a whole generation, my point is that a whole generation, my generation, whose fathers were in the war, and they came back and said, look, we're not going to eat
World War II, right?
Yeah, we're not going to eat any lamb because it's horrible. And I just assumed it was too, because I never, I was a kid. If no one served it, I wasn't. There was no place for me to eat lamb.
That's interesting. My grandmother was from France, and my grandfather was a World War II veteran. That's the Irish side.
Those are some crispy potatoes.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of times I get potatoes and they're like, not so fresh. They're a little mushy.
Yeah, these are wonderful.
And that's just like fresh from the store.
Yeah, I bought these just for this.
These are like the Cadillac of potatoes.
I thought those were the little teeny red ones.
No, those are what are those called again?
Red potatoes.
I did a cooking show with a lady from Peru, and she said there was in Peru, right? They had over 2,000 types of potatoes.
Oh yeah, that's where potatoes.
I think that's where potatoes came from, and then we got them in the 1600s. And in Ireland, Ireland was like the poorest of already poor Europe. So like there were no horses, there were no like bow and arrows, there were no boats, not even wheat could grow there. So the potato came along, and it's like, whoa, this is actually something that's filling.
Well, that's right.
It grows in moist climate.
I was just going to say that the potato really changed Europe, because not only Ireland, but a lot of places, even that grew wheat, when they had a bad crop, people starved to death because they didn't have a crop. But the root vegetables, like potatoes, they could survive bad weather.
Yeah,
and that changed the whole. Everybody in Europe suddenly was getting a lot more calories after the potato arrived.
Yep, and the potato, what's it called? Yeah, potato is easy to grow, simple. All right, now our stuff is boiling. So I'm gonna let it get.
Van Gogh's painting, The Potato Eaters?
I have not.
Let's see if I can find it. It's one of his famous paintings, or one of his famous early paintings. Keep on chopping. I'll take a look.
How small are you chopping them? Because you're going to cook these into mashed potatoes, not like a stew.
Yeah. So this is about the size of them. I mean, they're about stew cut size.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I come from like, the professional world where we're just like smashing them like you're Goliath. You can do fine. You're a big, strong man. And I guess not all of our audience has that kind of upper body mass. So maybe.
And there's two ways
here we go.
Cutting potatoes, like on the cutting board or just.
That's amazing. But there's no potatoes.
So this is Van Gogh's The Potato Eaters.
Nice.
Like potatoes and barley tea or coffee.
Yeah. Barley. That barley is nice.
You ever had roasted barley tea?
Myself, but I got shut down.
So it said 1885. He did that.
Yep. Huh? Famine was in 45.
What was that? The famine was when?
In 1845.
Okay.
Yeah. Obviously, I wouldn't be living here otherwise.
That a lot of people immigrated from Ireland because of the famine.
Oh yeah, pretty much all of them. There's two waves. The wave that still calls themselves Irish today, pretty much all because of the famine. There was an earlier one, but they stopped calling themselves Irish. They were like the Ulster Scots Irish settlers. That's from the colonial era, but they're just Americans now. Man, that hurts.
Yeah, I mean, originally when the Irish came to the U.S., they were very much. There was a lot of racism against them. They were considered, the black Europeans, right? The black.
Yeah, Irish. Yeah. I mean, they used like some slurs that are not appropriate for even adult TV.
Right. And then over time, because of, Irish hard work and ingenuity, it seemed like they very much transcended the
yeah. There's a song about that. I will sing you a song of days long ago, when people from Galway and County Mayo, from all over Ireland, came over to stay, to start up a new life in America.
So what's a good beer to drink while you're cooking this? I mean,
plastic as hell, but I'm gonna go with Guinness. Yeah.
But I mean, wouldn't that be too heavy to do while you're cooking?
He's Irish. There's no such thing as too strong.
Yeah, I'm not going to answer that question.
You'll lose your Irish card or what?
No, I'll lose my job. I'll keep my Irish card. I'll lose my job.
Okay.
Yeah.
One of my grandsons is a rep in San Diego for Guinness. And they're a big, huge company. They represent a whole bunch of different brands of spirits.
Nice. So, yeah, you can cook on whiskey. There's no problem.
Let's do in the chatter out loud a round robin. What time it is for you where you're located?
Robin. I see no Robin.
Or just say it out loud or put it in the chat.
Oh, it's 7:41 p.m. for me.
4:41 p.m. for me.
Named Robin.
Say that again, Fred.
4:41.
All right, so the sun just came out. I don't know, like you can see.
Yeah, you can see.
For me, when I first was on, I just had to have the light. It is 7:42 a.m.
12 hours. Dodge.
I got up at 6 to. The only reason I'm not cooking is the only cooking thing here is induction. Almost nobody in Thailand has an oven.
Really?
Yeah, it's like very Japan, rare. Like and so at least in the town I'm at, the Thai people really think it's exotic food for anything that's made in an oven.
So they don't do much baking, let's say, then, right?
So, like,
I guess that makes sense considering the climate.
Like, pizza and croissants and muffins are just like, wow.
Because you can bake bread on the stovetop in a cast iron pot. If you have something like that, but maybe
I've done cornbread, but other than that, I don't think I've ever. Well,
you can do bread that rises, I think.
Now, I went to a food festival last night, and they did have bread, but it was all like fry bread. So they had one that was
American style.
Very much, yeah, like Native American. It was and then there was one that was Indian style roti, the really thin, like pancake.
Yeah.
And then there was like more like one that was like a crepe kind of style from England.
All right, the potatoes are
well, didn't Native Americans have kind of kiwi ovens or something like that?
In Central America, maybe like the clay ovens, but most Native Americans in North America were nomadic.
So they didn't have anything like that.
Even the ones that had regular houses, they might have like a winter house, and then they traveled in the summer.
Salts.
Well, I watch this. I watch a number of.
Ryan, you're not superstitious. You don't do the. I've seen people do salt over their shoulder. What's the deal with that? I don't know.
I just did it.
Sure, there's a story. I watch a lot of sailing vlogs, and there's a guy. He's actually Australian, and he's in the Sunblessed Islands of Panama. And there's a whole bunch of just little kind of islands that, nobody on them, uninhabited. There's thousands of them.
What are you doing now, Ryan?
Yeah,
so I put in salt, pepper, and a little more
with bread in it, and put it in a fire on this beach and cooked the bread.
The potatoes are currently boiling.
So
I put
you put salt and pepper in the potatoes?
in the meat.
Oh, in the meat. Okay.
And now the potatoes are boiling, so I'm gonna sweep up and then we'll get started on carrots.
All right. So how do you layer the pan?
So
is it a preferred order?
yes. Meats and the meat mix is the first. Then you layer on top potatoes, followed by cheese, and then you throw it in the oven. Clean as you go. Oh man, that really.
And again, have you ever done the potatoes like where you didn't mash them? Like you basically cook those potatoes and then just put the chunks in?
No, that would be like me deciding to just eat the lamb raw. No, not no. I know, I have strong opinions.
Well, like you said earlier, this way everything is already cooked. You're just kind of putting it in the oven to heat it up and to cook the top.
Well, I just meant once the potatoes were cooked, the chunks.
Yeah.
Like, put a layer of the meat and then just put the chunks in there.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of, I don't know.
I think
things that are less work.
I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to make Chef Boyardee kind of deal.
It's what distinguishes this from like a beef stew. Is a beef stew, it's all in a big pot and it's slow cooked where everything kind of cooks to pieces,
Yeah.
And it's in liquid.
This is not really possible here.
And this one's not really, that doesn't.
Ryan, what kind of barbarian are you? Cleaning up while you're going?
I'm the Celtic kind of barbarian. I thought we already established that.
So
this is a habit they've ingrained in me at my work. Now I do it at home and I can't stop even if I wanted to.
Clean up while you go makes. Yeah. I was talking to someone, they're like, one person cooks, one person cleans. And I was just like, well, that's not a good habit, because it's a good habit that the person who cooks cleans as they go along and they make less of a mess.
Yeah, and I don't have anyone to help me, so.
But
I'll wash my hands because sanitation. And
so the mead you've been drinking, can you describe the flavor?
Yeah, I thought I already did. It's like sweet honey soda, but alcoholic.
So it's very sweet.
Yeah. Yes, it's a very sweet mead. It only ferments for 3 days after all.
Oh, okay, so you just start drinking it right away and not wait until it ferments.
No, I have a mead that's sitting, but this is not it.
All right, we see the ceiling again.
Sorry, I'm peeling potatoes and just cleaning everything up.
Are you peeling more potatoes?
Oh, I have one more. I forgot about this. Yes.
Okay.
More potatoes. Oh God, they're not going to cook evenly. Oh well, I guess they're going to.
Well, the worst case is you'll have leftover mashed potatoes.
Yeah. But I'm just cleaning these up and I'm cleaning up the peels essentially. Nothing spectacular.
I personally like rough mashed potatoes, so basically just barely mashed.
With a little bit of the peel.
Yeah.
It's just like, so it has like a texture, but there definitely is two different types of people. The people who like mashed, I actually do like the ones that are, you can't even tell they're potatoes anymore.
Yeah.
They're so creamy and mashed also.
My dad used to always use a big stainless steel whip to do the potatoes.
Yeah,
really well cooked.
I volunteered for Thanksgiving, and we ended up serving over 800 meals, and basically there was somebody nonstop for like, let's see, 6 a.m. to 2. That would be 8 hours. Wow. There was someone for 8 hours straight making mashed potatoes. I mean, people took turns, but It was just, and mainly it was like the final whip. You had to like whip them up and to make them really nice and creamy and ready.
Those are wonderful. Yeah, those are wonderful. That's straight up the love of my life.
And in the old days, we always used white pepper.
White pepper? I don't think I have that.
Well, you use it in the restaurant because then you don't have all these flecks of black pepper inside your potatoes with white pepper.
Oh, white pepper in the mashed potatoes, so you don't. It's still white.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha.
All right, just Ryan, describe how you do the pan.
So the pan.
Then you put beer on the bottom of the baking pan.
Oh no, the beer doesn't like. No, the beer is for the clearing the pan like that you're sautéing in.
Oh, okay. So you clear the pan to get all the bits.
Yeah. And then it's also an excuse to have the rest.
Oh, that's the frond.
Yeah, and then the real goal though is just to be able to drink some beer and have an excuse.
So you have a lamb flavored beer.
That's a great idea.
But I mean, if that's what you're doing, if you're clearing,
you take a bite of lamb and then you drink some beer.
Yeah, sounds amazing to me.
But you're talking about that you take the lamb and you put it in your baking pan and then you put the beer in there to clean the pan. You take that.
He's gonna make a gravy.
Yeah.
Oh, a beer gravy.
So he's gonna use that just like if you had some juice from your turkey or something.
Yeah.
You're gonna add flour.
Nothing can go wrong with beer. I'll tell you that right now.
Just like.
I feel like
I don't know. There's a lot of people now who are gluten intolerant, can't drink beer.
They'll just have to learn. People used to be lactose.
Although I heard that there is gluten-free beer.
Gluten-free beer? Wouldn't that ruin the whole point, though? Like, how would that be possible? You need grain.
I don't know.
Well,
it seems like if you fermented it,
you can make it with rice.
Oh yeah, but I call that a rice wine.
It seems like though that you could digest beer easier, that you're actually breaking down the gluten when you're making it.
Yeah, that would make sense to me.
Unless you were like completely allergic.
I think that gluten-free thing is some places a little out of control.
You mean all places?
I'm sure some people are really affected by it, but it's also just kind of a trend.
Yeah, it is.
Well,
there's so many.
And I actually don't think it's gluten. When I travel in other countries, I can eat gluten as long as it's not flour from the US. Because I personally think in the US, they tend to use more GMO wheat, and they tend to spray the wheat with chemicals to store them.
Yeah, I think if
I think it's the chemicals, not the actual
make your own flour. You could grind your own flour and test it out and see what happens.
Yeah, I would say army of ladybugs is the solution to pesticides.
Because if I buy pasta from Italy, which is more organic, it's not really organic, but it's
I get what you're saying.
No GMO, and then they don't tend to spray the wheat they basically, have storage bins to keep the bugs out instead of spray it with pesticides.
Yeah.
And so I tend to, and it could just be a psychological thing too. I don't know, but all I know is I get less sick when I'm traveling, which usually you think it's the other way around because
foreign. Yeah. Okay. So give me 2 seconds. I gotta go incognito for 2 seconds. I'll be right back. And then I'm gonna do some cleanup.
So you said once you've got all the stuff cooked together, cooked, now you go to step 2, assemble, to then cook it again, right?
Yeah, I want to see your pan. I want to see the pan that's going to go in the oven, the type of pan it is, or what.
So this is what I got. Now this isn't quite ready yet. I'm thinking and or I want your thoughts on this. I'm thinking of mixing in some carrots and having them cook a little bit in the pan, and then they'll cook the rest of the way in the stew.
How long do you normally cook it in the oven?
I actually look it up after I put it in the pan, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah, because I mean, carrots you can eat raw, so you don't have to cook them ahead.
Yeah,
I would cut them up pretty small. That would help.
I'm thinking what, 4 carrots, 3?
Yeah, probably only a couple.
It's a preference. Like me, I'd probably just put 1. But
I'm serving for 2 people.
I tend to not. I like eating carrots raw, and I tend to not put them much in cooked stuff.
Okay.
But that's just, everything's about a personal preference.
Yeah, I haven't done it this like holistic before, but I can. What are you thinking? 2? What do you think, Fred? 2?
I say 1.
1? All right, 1 it is.
The bigger one.
Bigger one, yeah.
We got this.
Like I say, cut it up pretty small.
Yeah,
Ryan, we've got the ceiling again.
Oh, I thought you could see the carrot.
Yeah, you don't have to peel it. You don't have to peel it.
No, we're gonna wash it first. And I want to peel it though. I feel good.
Okay, it's your dish. It's okay.
Yeah, it's what I've been raised to do. So that's
carrots are one of those things that I actually are willing to pay extra for organic or local, because they seem to just have a much better flavor when they're either organic or local. These are
actually organic carrots.
I
just had to pick them out at random though. Like,
my local farmer grows them in the hoop house in the cold of winter, and the colder the temperature, the sweeter the carrot is.
Knife cut. Now,
I mean, I've got some carrots from them that were just borderline candy.
I'm probably gonna start.
I was just like, ooh, I didn't even want to. Again, I didn't even want to put them in anything because I felt like it was wasting the good qualityness. I just wanted to eat them.
Yeah, I don't know. I ate carrots young when Bugs Bunny. That's all about. But I cook them now.
Man, you shooting that carrots all over the place. It's a carrot gun.
I once slept in a root cellar in Hungary, where right after the harvest, when all the herbs were hanging up and the ham and all the root vegetables. It was amazing.
Did you say slip or sleep?
Slept.
They put a bed in the root cellar and you slept in there?
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds like
it was
all like you cuddle with all the food. That's just like
all these natural smells. It was just
like a dream.
Amazing.
Just like sleep with my food. Ooh.
Yeah. Get it. Get that. Anyway. 1 second. I'm gonna throw these in the thingy majig. In the pan that I'm using for things. So let me just grab these. I'm just gonna throw them in there. Oh, come on.
Now with you said you always put carrots and peas. Now the peas
are canned.
I noticed in America the peas tend to be readily accessible as canned peas.
Yep, I actually was unable to find any that were not that, unfortunately.
Yeah, so the majority of peas are canned, and those always end up being mushy.
Yeah, these are going to be mushy. It just sucks, but it is what it is.
So otherwise, what's the preference?
Fresh.
Fresh
peas, yeah.
I'm trying to think if I've ever seen fresh. I've seen like young peas in the pod at the stores, but
fresh peas. That's how fresh peas come.
Yep.
But
I did not. I was not able to find them, and it's Christmas, so even doubly so on the busyness. 1 second.
Yeah, I bought a can of peas here in Thailand, and they turned out to be not the sweet peas we're used to, but they were cow peas, which are
sweet peas,
more like a bean. So it was just like I cooked it, and it still completely and totally had like the texture of a bean.
It's like a black-eyed pea is a bean.
Right. I mean, it looked like a sweet pea, but you know, it definitely retained, and that was a canned pea.
So I don't know about you guys, but I just drained the peas. You can look inside. This is what you got to do if you got to stick with canned. I just smashed against them with all my unholy might with the lid, and now I'm gonna pour them in like that.
Yeah, it's really hard for me to like. I don't know. I grew up with
mixing around.
I don't know. That we never wasted anything, so I never poured out the liquids from cans.
I don't know what you could do with it though. Like, what are you gonna do? Drink it?
Well, what my mom would do is she would put it in a big pot, and then on Sunday she basically puts all the leftovers in there, and that would be like the Sunday soup.
Pepper pot soup.
Gotcha.
Whatever leftovers all the week would just go into a big pot in the back of the fridge, and then you might have to add herbs to it and stuff. But the problem with that is most canned foods nowadays have so much salt.
Yeah.
Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get my second beer cup. I have two of them. One for me.
Look at that. You've got all Christmas holiday lights everywhere.
Yep. We got a little nativity too.
Just like, oh, wow. That's a really fancy one. A big one.
That came straight over from France. That was my grandmother's.
Just like,
you know, the old school Euro Catholic, you know. So next, I think this is ready. So we open the beer. And then, oh, come on. Give me a second. This is not as salt. So I'm going to find my bottle opener. Oh, here it is. And I'm going to open my beer. And
did you say this was a four beer meal?
Or alcoholic beverage of choice.
So are you pouring that in the meat?
Yep. I'll show you. See? Look, watch.
All right. How much? Like half a beer, or how much are you putting in?
I don't actually keep track of my measurements. I'm just like, that looks good to me.
So you're just basically adding some liquid to the bottom of it to make to not waste all that good flavor that's stuck to the pan.
Exactly.
Okay. To make like a little gravy.
Mix it in. Yeah, and we're just gonna let this heat up for a little bit. Now we're gonna mash the potatoes. Now I was thinking,
do you try to reduce the sauce down, or do you care if it's a little liquidy?
I do not care at all if it's a little liquidy. In fact, I prefer it liquidy.
Okay.
So next step, mash the potatoes. So we're gonna get a strainer. Where is it? Oh, here.
What kind of pan do you bake it in the oven?
I will show you in a minute. Right. But anyway, let me take you up here. But I will show you. It's just the time is not sufficiently right. Now my strainer.
Oh man, your background is like an Inception tunnel of Christmas.
Oh yeah, this is like straight out of the 50s, right? This house hasn't been renovated since then. That's why.
Speaking of the 50s, I think your strainer is from the 50s.
Yeah, it is.
That's seen some. If that strainer could tell some stories, that was a strainer.
Oh yeah. So I'm just gonna lift, like, shake it like a salad, around, move it, and then we'll do that. Now we're gonna take this and we're gonna pour it back in the pot, which I trust the intelligence of my viewers to realize that I don't need to show you that.
Just like you dumped it in the pot.
Yeah, and then, oh, come on. Now the fun begins. We're gonna get our strainer. Oh, I still have butter. I have a masher. I have a mixer. This is also from the 50s. Actually, all my utensils are from the 50s, very few exceptions. And come on, where's the masher?
Let's see.
Can you hear me? Oh man, I know I have one. Let me just 1 second, guys.
Get one of those meat tenderizer things. Just
I do have a meat tenderizer, but I don't want to use that. I want to use my other my other tool of doom.
I lost mine too. Like I couldn't find it. Like
oh, here it is.
I use it for a lot of different things, and I couldn't find it.
There you go.
The one I have is like a zigzag version because I like it better. It less chunks get stuck in it.
I almost put eggnog in the mashed potatoes instead
of milk.
Yeah, I did. I have plenty of beer left, so I'm just gonna drink that.
The
alcoholism.
The sweet version of mashed potatoes, huh?
Cheers. That's delicious. Now we're gonna just. Okay, that's
so basically fried together a bunch of meat with some garlic and onions and some savory herbs and some carrots, and then make some mashed potatoes.
Yep, I'm gonna.
Now, why even bake it? Like at this point, just put the mashed potatoes on your plate and just put that meat on top.
You have to cook the crust.
Yeah. So I'm going to add in a little butter. Nice. I feel like I'm being asked, like, why do you speak? Yeah, it's like these are long time traditions I can't explain. They're beyond human understanding.
It's like twice baked potato.
Yeah, you have to bake it twice. It's the will of God. Come on, or what are you doing here? It's been known since the Apostle Peter. Now, if you put in too much milk, flour is your answer.
Well, I'm just going to ask you if you're going to have flour to make yourself like a roux.
I don't necessarily, but if I will sometimes add flour if I screwed up.
He's talking about Fred if he makes the mashed potatoes too thin.
Yeah.
With too much milk.
Yeah. Put flour in the potatoes.
Add some. But also I've had it where if you just let it set for a little bit, it seems like some of the moisture like gets more absorbed into the potatoes and it disappears.
I've never had that happen, but I am not the most patient man in this world, to say the least. I'm hungry.
I've never added flour to mashed potatoes. Huh?
So yeah, you're gonna hear a lot of loud smashing noises at this point. My grandmother, who taught me how to cook, was a very angry woman, and she cooked angrily, and I'm gonna do the same.
Just like so the secret ingredient is not love, it's anger.
It's rage. Yeah, the secret ingredient is rage.
Just like, or maybe it's let the rage out while you're cooking and then you're nice and gentle the rest of the time.
Yeah.
I'd like to see a kung fu master doing this recipe.
throw the meat in the air with the swords.
A samurai guy doing the potatoes.
It seems like I've seen a video where someone tossed the carrots in the air and with like diced them.
Well, John Belushi used to do samurai skit. Do you remember that?
It's like, but I mean, was that serious or a joke?
It was a joke. He used to do a skit on Saturday Night Live called Samurai Cook or something, and he'd have this sword and he would whack everything with the samurai sword. He was a samurai cook.
Wonderful. Now it's time to taste the mashed potatoes. It's time to drink more beer.
I mean, you've tasted the lamb, you're eating the mashed potatoes, you're drinking the beer. By the time the food's done, you'll be full.
What? Oh no. Have you seen? I don't know if you've seen my full body before, but trust me, that's not a problem. All right. Mashed potatoes are perfectly creamy. Now I get to the secret about the pan. So first, actually, before we get the pan, we're gonna
So
open our
you
cheddar
put butter and
cheese.
milk in it. That was it, right?
Yep. Well, let me throw in some salt and pepper. I should probably do that.
And that's where Fred said if you were restaurant quality, you'd put white pepper, so the mashed potatoes still were white.
But I'm not, so we're just gonna mix them in there and go.
I don't think I ever had white pepper until Fred told me I needed to get it.
Yeah,
I don't even have white pepper.
We're gonna take our cheddar cheese. I really did not have the energy unless I have someone that I like can somehow make the, you know,
to grate it.
Shred it.
I never do that. I always
if you guys stick around after cooking, I'll show you the John Belushi samurai cook from Saturday Night Live.
All right. Now, do you mix the mashed potatoes in? I mean, the cheese in the mashed potatoes, or put it on top?
No, I put it on top. So this is essential to the recipe. You need to take some right out of the bag, right?
Okay.
And eat it.
Just like I would just like, so you have to taste everything. I didn't see you taste the what do you call it? See if the onion was properly caramelized.
Did Or teach you that trick with the cheese?
All right.
Baking dish.
Now I would end up making too much of the ingredients and end up making 2 of those trays because I always.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Well, I mean, if you're just home alone, you make all that food, you're going to eat it for a week.
So now I need a big spoon.
Way to censor yourself there.
Yeah. So let me put this on the tray and then big spoon. 1 second.
We can't see, Ryan. It's the ceiling again.
Oh yeah, I know. Just give me 1 second. You're seeing me 2 seconds. All right.
Although we have good imaginations.
And then we're just gonna pour it on, and you'll see my final result in a minute. Don't worry.
Well, no, we want to see what you're doing.
This is the grand finale.
Yeah, I'm taking this and I'm putting it on top. It'll be fairly simple. I think you'll be able to figure it out once you see the final result.
In the pan or in the baking dish?
Yeah, in the baking dish. Put it on top. Layer it.
That's the part we want to see. That's the finale.
Oh, I know. I'm getting to it. Don't worry.
Look at this. He's teasing us. This is annoying.
Yeah, okay, this is a tease.
I can show you now that I have one hand. All right, see, I got it layered on top.
There we go. That's what we want to see.
Okay, so you put all the meat in there first, and then you put the mashed potatoes on top. Yep.
And we're gonna do a little more, but now that you got the idea, I'm just gonna.
See, Fred, he was totally. I imagine that's what he was doing, but I wasn't sure.
I wasn't sure either. That's why I was asking.
I was just like, man, it's just like totally.
That's a real professional trick. All of a sudden, everybody really paying attention.
Just like,
what's going on?
So it actually seemed like, because you only did a pound of lamb, right?
Keep in mind, those Irish had a lot more potatoes than they had lamb.
But I'm just saying that pan seemed really full. It ended up.
So I'm gonna have another drink before I finish this up.
It seemed to like exponentially got bigger, considered how little meat it really was.
Yeah. So 1 second, guys. I'm just gonna have a little more meat.
Pour that right. Move it about 2 inches so it's pouring into my mouth. No. And then I'll be done for the day because it's.
Well, there's a few more steps. This is close to the grand finale, but we are not quite there.
So the layer of, let's see, lamb, onion, garlic, thyme. What was the other spice?
Rosemary.
rosemary, half a beer.
And another beer, you know, you need lots of beer for
and
yourself.
then covered with mashed potatoes that had milk and butter in it. All
Yeah,
of a sudden
yeah, I noticed.
I think you got mashed potatoes on your screen.
Yeah. All right, so now we're gonna just take a ton of cheese.
You have to put your hands in it? Can't you just? No, I'm just kidding. It's very visceral. Just like put it in there.
Yep.
So do you put a lot of cheese, like a half a bag?
Probably the whole bag, to be quite honest with you.
The whole bag. Okay, so don't hold back on anything, huh?
No, we don't do that around here. You know,
we're gonna call this Irish lasagna.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's like
that there's no noodles.
How long does the recipe say to put it in the oven?
I don't have a recipe. I just had an ingredients list.
All you gotta do is get
and
it.
we forgot to preheat the oven anyway.
1 second. I'm gonna Google how long it should bake for because I can't remember.
Fred will do that. If you want to put the oven on to preheat it, and we'll look it up for you.
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
I'll look it up.
It's like, I always, no matter what I think, if I think I know a recipe, I always end up looking up how long they say, and then it always takes longer because I'll check it.
It does always take longer. I found that to be the case as well.
The problem is with all these online recipes is you have to read a whole book before you actually get to the recipe.
Lord of the Rings was actually just a recipe blog.
Yeah.
The whole thing.
Now, what other vegetables, Ryan, have you ever put in this? Like I've heard people put mushrooms or chopped broccoli or
potato peels in my booze. That would make it vodka.
It doesn't say. It said I don't see a temperature in this one.
Whatever you got. 350.
Well, turn the oven on to 325 to start warming it up. At least that's like the standard temperature for everything.
350. I found it. Okay, more cheese. I swear if I get any whining because this is lamb, I am going to get my other knife. That's
almost, you made like a Guinness lamb stew on the bottom, right?
Yeah, that's accurate.
I say 400 degrees.
400. All right.
Bake uncovered for 25 to 30 minutes.
I don't do that. That's not necessary.
Well, it depends on you. I would do it until it starts to brown a little on the top and the cheese is melted.
Yeah. So I'm gonna throw it in. So
you actually cover it or never cover it?
No, I don't cover it. That's unnecessary.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just throw it in there.
Yeah, Fred, I did a look online. It said 375 to 400 for a half hour.
This is the part where we drink.
It says usually just enough time for the potatoes to brown a little, but if you have the cheese, you probably want a little lower temperature because it'll burn quicker.
Well, you just want to watch it. You don't want the cheese to kind of burn or anything like that. So I would let the cheese. I'd let the cheese determine how long I left it in there because everything's already cooked.
Ryan, have you ever cooked it so you get the crispy potatoes and then throw the cheese on right as you take it out?
No, I've not done that. I'm watching it. I have the light on. So yeah, now the next part is just pour yourself a drink and eat up.
Well, the usually the hard thing about baking is you have to like get progressively hungrier and hungrier. But I think you did a good job of tasting stuff along the way that you won't be starving while you wait. And then you said you have a beer while you wait too.
Yeah, and a mead. I would have rum, but I'm out.
So any final tidbits that you want to reiterate?
Jack and Coke
because
is great.
I don't
think
we want to sit around and wait for 30 minutes for it to come out, but you could definitely take a picture when it comes out and we'll post that to the
am I supposed to take
Facebook.
A selfie with that? Perhaps like a model picture, get the bikini with it or no?
just like, well, here, take a picture of the whole thing and then take a picture of it like this.
Bake until the meat is bubbling and the potatoes are golden.
Well, you can't see the potato, the meat bubbling, it's underneath.
Well, you'll see it because down you can see the side of it in the dish.
Oh,
there we go.
Be
have yourself a Merry Christmas.
It's a clear baking dish.
King of misrule, harass your neighbors, good old fashioned way, tradition.
It's like, all right, thank you for being one of the hosts and teaching us. And I hope you come back and teach us how to make some meat or beer or some wild barbarian something or other.
Great job. Great job, Ryan.
Thank you.
It was fun.